Hello. Today we are going to discuss the vocabulary related to cars. In part 1, we have already discussed car exterior. Today we are going to deal with car interior, what you can see inside of a car and how to describe it. Then we have part 3 and part 4 coming to discuss driving expressions and driving idioms. But let's get to our vocabulary for the interior of a car. So, we are going to have a look at what the car has inside. We're going to discuss car interior. So what is inside of a car is called car interior. Well, as an example, you can say, I prefer leather car interior. I prefer leather car interior. So what do you see when you open the front door? You see driver and passengers' seats. These are seats. Seat for a driver and seat for a passenger. Seats have different covers, or they may have different covers, or you may go without a cover. So these are seat covers. Seat cover. Seat covers. You can say, for example, you need to change the covers. These are scruffy. You need to change the covers. These are scruffy. They are shabby, they can have holes in them, they can be dirty. So you can say they're scruffy. Then, of course, you see the steering wheel, or just the wheel. This is the round thing that you move to make your car go to the left or to the right. This is a steering wheel or just the wheel. For example, we can say, never cross your hands on the steering wheel because it's not safe. Like this, you will not feel comfortable when driving a car. So never cross your hands on the steering wheel. So the central part on your wheel that you push when you want to make a signal, when you want to be heard, is called a horn. A horn. You can say, why does this idiot keep honking the horn? Why does this idiot keep honking the horn? And you can know that the expression for that is honk the horn. Honk the horn. Now, if we look behind the wheel, what do we see? We see an information panel. This panel is called a car dashboard, or just dashboard, or dash. This dash, or any dash, has different useful indicators, such as fuel gauge. It can also be called gas gauge. This indicator shows you how much petrol, how much gas is left in your gas tank. Fuel gauge or gas gauge. Next indicator is called speedometer. This is the indicator that shows your current speed, how fast you are going at this particular moment. So this is a speedometer, and it sounds pretty much like the Russian word for it. Speedometer. Next indicator is a tachometer. Tachometer. It shows how fast your engine is turning, how hard your engine is working. So all this can be seen on the tachometer. The next one is Oil gauge. Oil gauge. This indicator shows if you need to fill up your car with oil or you are okay at the moment. Oil gauge. Oil gauge. So the next one here on this panel is temperature gauge. Temperature gauge, which shows the temperature outside, right? How cold or warm it is outside. So this one is temperature gauge. The next one is odometer. Odometer is an indicator which shows your car mileage in total. That means how many miles or kilometers you have gone in total in your car. So this one is odometer. Now, if we look to the right of the wheel, you can see the ignition, or it can also be called a starter. This is the place where you put your keys, your car keys, to ignite the car, to start the car. So this thing is called ignition, ignition or starter.
The keys are in the ignition, Your Highness.
So he says the keys are in the ignition, Your Highness. The keys are in the ignition, Your Highness.
The keys are in the ignition, Your Highness.
If we look further right to the ignition, we can see the center console. Center console. It contains controls for the heater, for the air conditioning, for the radio, and perhaps seat adjustment. What can you do in the center console? You can turn up or down the heating. Turn up means to make your car warmer. Turn down means to make the air in your car cooler. You can turn on the air conditioning or you can turn it off. You can also control the intensity of the air blown, and you can turn on, turn off, or switch on, switch off the radio, for example, right? If we look a bit higher, we will see the air vents. So these are the vents that the air comes out from. Air vents. If we look down the center console, we see a stick shift or a shifter or a gear shifter or a gear selector. I would say that shifter or stick shift is used more often than gear shifter or gear selector. But anyway, there are 4 words for the same stick. Alright, there are manual transmission vehicles, cars, with a manual transmission where you have to switch gears manually. For example, you can say with a manual transmission, you have to change gears manually. I've just said that anyway. And there is an automatic transmission with different letters written on it. So where P stands for parking, R stands for reverse, going backwards, N for neutral, and D for drive. You can say, I have a manual transmission or I have an automatic transmission. If we move further to the right, we can see the glove compartment or the glove box. This is a place where you can store some not very big things. Interestingly enough, it is related to gloves in English and to a mess in Russian. Glove compartment or glove box. Right, what else do we have in a car? We have airbags. Airbags is a construction that prevents you from hurting yourself when, touch wood, hopefully not, when you have an accident. Airbag or airbags. Modern cars have several airbags. Sometimes we see that it says SRS airbag. What does it mean? SRS means Supplemental Restraint System. That means that this is a special system that restrains you or prevents you from hurting yourself. This is an additional system, supplemental restraint system, airbag. The correct word to say that the airbag is functioning is to say deploy or go off. So if we say the airbag deployed or the airbag went off, that means everything is working properly. The airbag deployed. Why didn't the airbags deploy? Why didn't the airbags deploy?
Why didn't the airbags deploy?
When we look underneath the steering wheel, we can see pedals. Depending on the transmission, there can be 2 or 3 of them. So for a manual transmission, there are 3 pedals. The first one, the one on the left, is called a clutch. A clutch. The second one is called a brake or the brakes. Brakes. The third one is the accelerator or the gas pedal. Accelerator or the gas pedal. However, if we look at the automatic transmission, there are only 2 pedals, the brakes and the accelerator. My favorite. Could never understand where the clutch is needed and why and what its function is. I took additional driving classes, but I never got to understand it. Whatever. Yes, I'm blonde.
When this alarm goes off, you hit the gas. Right.
So he says, when this alarm goes off, you hit the gas. That means you press the gas pedal, you press the accelerator. When this alarm goes off, you hit the gas.
When this alarm goes off, you hit the gas. Right.
On the floor, we can see a floor mat. Normally, it's made out of rubber. Floor mat, floor mat. What else do we have? This light on the ceiling, that you have the button to switch it on the ceiling, is called a reading light, as if you are planning to read in a car. So reading light, very bright light, helping you to see something better inside of a car. What else? Right, we have this big mirror that shows you what's happening behind you. It's called rear view mirror. This is a rear view mirror. We can see in an example. I was adjusting the rear view mirror when I saw the truck. I was adjusting means moving it a little bit to make sure that you see everything very well, right? It's just moving it to make it convenient for you to see what's happening at the back. I was adjusting the rear view mirror when I saw the truck. And of course, we have to mention such an important thing as the seat belts. Seat belt. Seat belt. You can put them on or take them off. Put on your seat belt. Take off the seat belt. Seat belt.
Fasten your seat belt.
So, fasten your seat belt. They say the same in airplanes. Fasten your seat belt.
Fasten your seat belt.
If we look at the back side of the car from the inside, we can see the back seats. Back seats. This is pretty easy, isn't it? Back seats. And these cushions, to make you feel more comfortable while driving in a car, are called headrests. Headrests, where your head rests. Headrests. In the back seat of your Cadillac. In the back seat of your Cadillac. Alright guys, this is it for today. In our next part we'll speak about expressions related to driving. See you soon. Bye bye.